Okay, Judy, we're working on transitions on part A of In the Garden. All right, the big thing is getting from one measure into the first beat of the next measure. That's really where I want you to focus on this week. All right, so the first measure is just your G chord, but it's the split second now that you got to get into a D chord of measure 2. That's the thing we got to work on next, okay? So what I want you to do is play through measure 1 and put a D chord down as fast as you can. All right? Now I didn't even play anything on my right hand. I just played through, and I let my left hand play a D chord as fast as I can. Okay? Just doing that enough a couple times gets you ready for then, after you get used to that, to then be able to pinch that first beat of measure 2. So starting on measure 1, now the D chord goes down and you pinch, P and A, just like that. That's what I want you to get out of this week, is being able to connect those measures a little bit. Not playing through measure 1 and all the way through measure 2, but playing measure 1 and the first beat of measure 2. Again, get ready with your D chord and pinch, just like that. All right, one more time. Pinch on the D chord. Okay, just be ready with that D chord. Doesn't have to be in perfect time, but just start thinking about the D chord coming and being ready to pinch it, and adding that as a fourth beat, I guess, is what it really is. Everything's been in 3 beats now per measure, but now we're thinking about that next beat coming. All right, now the second measure into the third measure is a little goofy, because we already worked on the transition of going from a D chord into this middle finger dropping to C, right? That's already part of measure 2. And the hard part here is that we now have to add the next pinch, which is the first beat of measure 3, right? So we're going to try and just kind of get all that happening at once, but it starts on the D chord, drop your middle finger, and then put that 3-2 pinch down. We're adding that pinch to measure 2. Alright, that's going to be something that's going to be goofy because there's a lot going on there, but I think you can do it. You just got to slow it down. So start to the D chord, drop your middle finger, and then get on to the next 3-2 pinch. Alright, it's just anticipating that beat coming. Alright, here you are on measure 3, and you're just going to want to anticipate a D chord again for the beginning of measure 4. Alright, and you're just going to do your PIMA roll thing. Alright, so you're starting off, this is measure 3, and when the D chord comes down, you pinch all of them. Just like that. Now I'm doing that little roll. It doesn't have to be that. It could be just like this. Okay? But again, it's 3 and 2 together. This is the beginning of measure 3. You just play through measure 3. And get ready with the D chord now. Okay? One last time. Measure 3. With the D chord on measure 4. If you just do that and just start thinking about adding a beat to each measure now, the first beat of the next measure, when you're playing these things as an isolated thing, you'll get to where the transitions are a little bit easier for you. All right, I only want you to do that for part A. For part B, I just want you to keep doing one measure at a time. You've done great with that so far. Just get another week of that, okay? And I'm going to add 3 measures to what you're doing here. We're going to look at, let's see, this is part B, second line, last measure, okay? You're just going to put a D chord down, and then everything's pretty intuitive. P and A are going to pinch those first 2 notes, and then you're going to drop I and M to play the next 2 notes, which are already down because of your D chord. So far, if you have a D chord down, you should be able to play everything. Okay? The next thing is fun. You're going to hammer on with an open E to an F sharp. That's your A finger on the right hand, just hitting it when it's open, and hammering on with the F sharp. Okay? So that whole measure, if you have a D chord down, you're going to play P and A, I and M, and then hammer on to the F sharp. One more time. Alright? And then, here comes the fun part. Because you're here, we're actually going, because you have your second finger down on the 2nd fret, we're going to choose to do this shape here, okay, which we are calling G2. And that means pinky's on high G and your third finger's on low G. You're just going to pinch these notes. Thumb is going to come up and play the fourth string. I and M are going to play the second and third string. And then you're going to just shoot that pinky up to the 5th fret and play it with your A finger. Okay, so the pinky went from this G2 shape. Remember I said you don't necessarily need to put this finger down for G2 if you don't want. But you're going from this shape to pinky jumping up and playing the 5th fret. Okay, one more time through this measure. This is going to be a P and A pinch with the G2 shape down. Thumb plays the open D. I and M play the open second and third string. And then you're going to shoot that pinky up to the A on the 5th fret. That's it. All right. That next measure is the last thing we're going to do. I want you to reference this to measure 3 of part B. So part B, measure 3, what you did was you're up here on the 7th fret, you have your ring finger on the 7th fret of the first string, and then you end up dropping your middle finger down on the 7th fret of, you drop your middle finger down on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. Anyway, if you played through measure 3 of part B, it sounds like this. Right? Yeah. But this shape here, what you've got going on with your ring finger on the 7th fret of the 1st string and your middle finger down on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, that's what you're going to play now on this new measure we've added, which is the 2nd fret of the last line of this page. So if you just put those fingers down, we scratched through that 5th fret on the 4th string, so that's not there anymore. You're just going to pinch the top 3 strings with I, M, A, and then you play that note again on the 3rd string, and then play that note again on the high string. It just sounds like this. Okay, so it really is very similar to what you did up there. That's why I'm referencing it, but this time you're starting with that middle finger down instead of adding it later. Okay, so again, you put your ring finger down on the 7th fret of the 1st string, your middle finger down on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, you pinch those top 3 strings with I, M, A, I finger plays again on the 3rd string, A finger plays again on the 1st string, and that's it. Alright, so those are 3 new measures that you can add if you're ready, if you feel like you want to do it. If you don't, the main focus this week is the transitions and then working on each individual measure of part B. And if you want to add these 3, I think you can handle it. All right, if you have questions, let me know. I think you did great. I'll see you next week.